Oh, the baby's mad.
Gotta hug the baby.
She's just a little angry. She wants to
Mm,
eat my mic.
I've heard that chewing microphones is not good for children, but I ignore that. All right. Sounds like audio is good, so hello and welcome, dear patrons, to the Tables of Tartarus, a chapter of Purgatory Corner. Today, our DM and storyteller is Benny, and we shall be continuing the tale of adventures into the end times. Come on in, take a seat, and let your imagination run free, and go check out all of our various socials and our weekly schedule inside the link down below. Benny, if you'd like to start us off.
All right. Thank you so much for having me as your storyteller for tonight. So, a brief synopsis of where our party's been. They left a kingdom, or an empire, I should say, that was struggling with drought and had experienced some severe earthquakes. And things have gone from bad to worse. They've discovered that the two major powers in the world they know are heading for a confrontation. Those powers hired mercenaries, and the mercenaries have been raiding and recruiting along the way. So it's been one burnt out and destroyed area for one reason or another to another. And as a result of this prolonged drought, people are getting increasingly desperate to the point of making dark bargains with demons, as the party discovered last session. Now, to be honest, I've always sort of despised character introductions, so I always try to find ways to do them just a little bit differently. This time around, I think I'm going to go around. I'll introduce each character, and when I introduce you, if you would just be so kind as to tell me something that's happened in the campaign. Could be anything that would have made an impression on your character for any reason. Just a couple of sentences about something that you would remember. And we'll start with, I will say, Gromish, the Orc Barbarian.
Okay. For Grommash, probably a thing that is stuck in his mind the most would be when he was told that the upper city was destroyed, but the lower one was left alone. Just because it struck such a chord in his mind that so many people were not given a choice of to live or to die.
All right, and that's referring to when you went to the city of Targus and you found that half of the city had been essentially given the option to betray the other half rather than face the enemy, and they took it.
Hmm.
Fair enough. We'll continue with Renegar, who is, I believe, a barbarian with a level in Jaeger and a Knoll, if I'm remembering all that correctly.
Yep.
So
To be
what's your
honest, the big one is Gromish. Gromish trying to hold me back from finishing, from finishing off someone who has not surrendered yet. Those weren't the rules I was told, as far as I'm concerned.
And as I recall the particulars of that event, it was in the village where they had made a dark bargain with several demons. The party had The villagers had failed to poison the party, and the party had dispatched all but one of the demons. And Gromish was ready to finish the job, but it looked like the village, not the demon, was trying to surrender. So Gromish tried to hold you back from completing that task.
Yep.
And then Athel, the goblin druid, made it something of a moot point by taking care of the demon while everybody else was focused on you.
I was so damn proud of it.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and have that bring us to Athel, the goblin druid.
Yeah, so the thing in the campaign which has affected Athel the most, I'd say, is when we were jumped in that alley and we were sort of pushed to the brink, and it was revealed that these were the same people who were responsible for that graffiti we'd been seeing everywhere. Athel still hasn't completely recovered from that and is still kind of terrified about the whole Dragon Wakes situation.
All right, and just a little bit of clarification on that. The city you left from at the very start of the campaign, you noticed there was graffiti on some of the walls that said the dragon stirs and had crude images of a dragon on it. And that saying and that image have followed you pretty much everywhere you've gone, and you still don't have any detailed information about what it means. You've heard a few conflicting legends that it could refer to. And that brings us to Jane, the
For
gnome Fey Wanderer Ranger.
Yep. For Jane, the most impactful moment for her that really just ruffled her feathers was the fact that we were taken in by a seemingly kind group of people that were tucked away, had a reason to be tucked away, and were just living quietly on their own, and were just living life and enjoying it. And then turns out that really they were using us as a sacrifice. Then for Jane, that was just an ultimate betrayal and an insult with how she was raised. Being as she was raised by two hostesses that run a tavern and always welcomes people, and there's no hidden
Agenda.
yeah, there's no hidden agenda or anything about that. It's just everyone's welcome, you're good to stay, they'll even give up their own bed for you and everything. And then going there, it's like, oh, we were nearly killed. And they felt like that was their only option. It's like, yeah, no, that's not true. You could do there's better ways to handle this. So it really made her like kind of give her trust issues.
Okay. I have no elaboration on that. That was very well put and very well described. All right. So the party made the decision not to spend the night in the village of the people who had tried to sacrifice them to demons, which is probably wise. And you all had found an abandoned farmhouse. So Jane, so all four of you are basically in this one big room in this house. The place is, everything of use has been taken from it. There are a few like broken children's toys and mementos and things left laying around, but nothing of worth. And it's a very cold feeling to be in this place, not just physically, but just the sort of hopelessness and despair of an abandoned farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, you all do bed down for the night. And Jane, as soon as you nod off, you snap back awake. And in a chair next to the fireplace, there is a gnome smoking a pipe. He's extremely well dressed. Earrings in both ears with gems in them, rings on most of his fingers, a necklace with multiple gems worked into it, and very fine clothing. If anything, it's a little bit overdone. And it's going to take you a moment, but it's going to take you a moment because you weren't raised in the worship of this deity. But this looks very much like the gnome deity Garl Glittergold. So before he says anything, you're going to have a moment to react, and your companions all seem to be peacefully asleep around you.
Jane is going to grab for her bow at first and look about her team and just keep like an eye on the gnome. It's like, okay, like are we being ambushed again? And assumingly she's right by Gromish, so she'll like be ready at any moment to wake up Gromish. It's like, okay.
So go ahead.
Oh, she's just gonna ask, is like, okay, who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm reasonably confident you know who I am, young lady. I'm Garl Glittergold, or at least a manifestation of said deity. And I'm actually here to help you with something you've been looking to do. I know you have some curiosity about your origins, and it is time for you. And he's going to pause as he's talking and take a puff out of his pipe. And then as he continues to talk, smoke is going to billow out of his mouth, and much more smoke than he possibly could have inhaled is going to completely fill the room. And you're going to hear his voice sort of echoing, for you to seek that which was not lost. And when the smoke clears, which it does much faster than it naturally would, you find yourself standing in a grove or a grotto, a clearing in the woods ringed with trees. And everything is so bright here, the leaves, the foliage, even the feathers on the birds and the fur of squirrels and things you see running around, that this could only be some sort of enchanted fey forest. In the forest, or in this clearing, you see your parents, younger than you ever saw them. Your adoptive, I believe you said a human and a half-elf.
Yes.
And they are in conversation with an elf druid. He is a distinguished-looking elf, not a young man, but it's hard to tell exactly how old because of how long elves live. And he's wearing the brown earthen-colored robes of a druid. He's in conversation with your parents, and they are handing him a sort of satchel of things, which he opens and starts to go through. And from your vantage point, you realize what this is spell components. And after a brief conversation, they part ways, very friendly, and your parents give him a little bit of gold. And your viewpoint kind of follows him back through a small village where houses and huts are built into different parts of trees. And there are different kinds of folk living here. There are elves, gnomes, goblins, satyrs, and a few others. There's no obvious hierarchy. Everybody seems to be just interacting freely with each other. And there are people who it looks like one of their parents might have been a satyr and another one was a gnome, or one was an elf and one was a goblin. It's that kind of vibe. And he returns to a fairly modest hut and begins working on what you recognize to be a fertility ritual. While that's going on, Athel, same
Yes?
situation. You nod off and you jerk back awake. And next to the fire, there is seated, and by the way, there was no fire in the fireplace when you all went to sleep. Next to the fire, though, there is seated a goblin who has a bunch of bandages across his chest and is wearing a crown of leaves. And you're going to immediately recognize this as Shurabog, which is the goblin deity that your elf master had raised you to worship. And it was a situation where the elf didn't worship this deity, but this elf had taught you, you have this fey ancestry, and this is the deity associated with that before Magoobliet wiped out their pantheon. And so and it's a similar situation. You see your companions are all sleeping peacefully around you. What's your immediate reaction?
Athel's eyes just go completely wide as he asks, "What is going on? You can't be here."
Well, he's obviously in pain, but he's also kind of cheerful. Well, that's very awkward because I am, as you see, here. And I'm actually here largely because of you and a very few others who remember me.
So you're not dead, really? I guess. I'm sorry. It's just I never thought that I'd get to meet a formerly dead god.
Well, the life of a god is dependent upon the worshippers. So as long as anyone is left who remembers me, I'll have some life to me. And he's going to indicate the bandages, and he's going to say, although the wounds that I suffered at Magoobliet's hand still haunt me, and it will be a lot of time and a lot of followers before I'm whole again. And for you, I have a very important task.
Of course, my lord. Assuming it's like nothing particularly cruel or anything like that. I don't think I'm capable of it. With Athel completely pretending to forget about the acid-based war crimes he'd committed against certain demons. He goes, but of course, I'm happy to serve.
So Shuragog is just giving you this look that basically says, I know exactly what you did. And so he's going to raise his right hand and he's going to tap the air in front of him. There doesn't seem to be anything there, but the air will start to ripple like when you throw a rock into a pond and there's ripples going out. And he's going to say, I need you to remember that which was never forgotten. And as the ripples clear, you find yourself in an enchanted forest, just as I described for Jane. There are satyrs, centaurs, gnomes, goblins, elves, and so it's getting toward twilight. It's a very beautiful, peaceful day, and you get the sense that it always is here. And everybody is happy until something like a fireball goes off high in one of the trees, and there's more of them, and screams follow, and a panic begins to ensue. Now, Jane, in your dream, the druid you're watching conducting this fertility spell is going to hear a commotion outside of his hut, and he's going to run out to investigate. And he's going to, and at this point, Athel and Jane are essentially seeing the same thing. There's just fire. There are swordsmen and archers advancing on unarmed fey creatures. Some of these people look familiar to you, which is really strange because they're all wearing hoods and masks. So there's no way you can see them, but some, not all of them, just generally it's that feeling of I know that person from somewhere. The druid, Athel, you're going to recognize as this is the elf who raised you. And as he's preparing his spells to join the fight, he's going to be distracted. There's a hut built into the base of a tree, and it's on fire, and he's going to run in, and there's going to be a small red-headed gnome baby who is crying. It's not exactly clear what happened to the parents, but he's going to grab this child and he's going to step back out of the tree. And there's a clear moment of indecision where he's trying to decide what he's going to do. And he just touches the ground and he and the child disappear into it. The scene changes to where it's nighttime and the druid and the baby emerge, and he looks around at a scene of desolation. And as he's walking through this, he hears another child crying, and he pulls aside the body of somebody who died. They took an arrow in the back while they were running away, and they were holding a goblin baby, which the druid is also going to pick up. And there's going to be a long period where he's clearly trying to work out what he wants to do next. And then he is going to cast some kind of spell and disappear. And the next and the final scene of this is that he will be standing outside of Jane's parents' tavern, the Rusty Tankard. And at this point, it's clearly been a few days, and he doesn't look like he's slept well, and he doesn't look like he's eaten. He looks absolutely haggard. And he's holding these two kids in kind of a makeshift sling that he's made. And he's going to be looking at the Rusty Tankard, and he's going to look at the gnome baby, and he's going to say, well, you paid me for a child. I don't think this is what you had in mind, but, and then he's going to set baby Jane down at the doorstep and knock on the door, and he will once again work whatever magic it is that makes him disappear, bringing the goblin with him. And it's going to be at that point that both Athel and Jane snap awake, and Grommish and Renegar are both still asleep. It's sort of pre-dawn, so it's dim in this place, but with both of you having dark vision, it's light enough for you to see each other.
Athel is just completely stunned, just kind of staring at Jade at this point, like, did you saw that too, right? Like, I'm not going insane here.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, did you see that too? Like, baby
Who
us?
else? Any weird dreams? Is that a whole party thing, or is that just us? Like, what's going
I
on, guys?
think it was just us, and she's gonna poke at Gromish, and yeah, I think he's still asleep.
Ramesh, it's up to you whether this conversation and you getting poked at wakes you up.
He probably like stirs a little bit, opens like one eye, stares at Jane, slowly closes it, and just kind of turns onto his side, almost like leaning on against her.
Yep, he's still asleep. Yeah, I think that was just you and
Oh,
I. So, do we want to talk about it?
I don't even know what to make of that. Did you also get the goblin god talking to you, or is it different for you?
For me, it was a gnome, jazzed up with all sorts of jewels and such.
Hmm.
It was pretty odd, but yeah. And then he puffed some smoke and sent me to, I'm assuming, the Fey Forest I'm from. Well, I guess we're from? Yeah.
Apparently, I feel like we need to look into this further, because as cool as this revelation is, two gods on the same night seems a little suspicious.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. Usually, well, I don't think you should be able to handle two gods in one night. It's not something people should be even able to handle.
It's also the god that I saw was supposed to be dead. Like, my entire understanding of my faith was that he was dead. So him not being dead is revolutionary if true, and extremely concerning if not.
Yeah, I was ready to shoot him, but that's because of what happened yesterday. But yeah.
Yeah, yesterday wasn't great.
Yeah.
Should we
But
wake the
yeah.
others?
Probably let them sleep more. They are gigantic, unlike us, so they probably need more sleep.
Tracks.
Also, it would have been really interesting if that elf dropped us both off at my tavern. Wouldn't it be weird if you and I were both raised at the same spot?
I'm pretty sure that's the elf who raised me, so. Maybe a forest nearby. I'm not sure. The geography of this continent is still a little beyond me, admittedly. But that was something else.
Yeah, it was. To think we were from the same place. It's baffling to me.
Yes, I definitely want to investigate this forest now, if nothing else, to see what kind of place has goblins and gnomes and elves and all of these other peoples working together in harmony. But at the same time, I'm quite concerned about whatever has the strength to summon two gods, because I feel as though proximity is
Yeah.
as much an answer as anything else.
Well, it could be a connection thing.
Hmm.
Because, like, my shadow would dance without people looking at it. And occasionally, the smell of cinnamon fills the air whenever I get angry. So it could be
Hmm.
just our fake connection. At least that's what my parents always assumed. But who knows? It would be really fun to find out. You know?
Ooh,
For a
yes,
second, I thought that Elf was the one that keeps appearing randomly around us since the ship.
oh, no, what was his name?
Corborealis.
Thank you. Uh, so how
No, the one I
far...
keep killing the owl.
Yeah, I don't think he liked that. Yeah, we should definitely head to this forest. How nearby is it? Can we make it there before the battle, do you think?
Hmm.
So either one of you, if you want to know more about where this forest is or was or what might be the story of it. Either one of you are welcome to make a history check.
It's going to be a history check from me. Give me a
Alright.
natural 1.
All right,
I got 19.
Okay, so Athel, you are confident that this forest is just south of the desert of the Empire of Infernus that you came from originally. So you'll have to backtrack all the way to get there. Jane, on a 19, you're going to remember your parents telling you about the Fey Forest that is almost but not quite due east of where the battle is supposed to happen. So a little bit of explanation here. Pitching a large ancient or medieval battle, you can't do it just anywhere. It has to be sort of a broad plain where forces can array. So everybody kind of knows where the two empires are going to do this. And to the east of that is the hill country that you've been traveling along. You've been traveling between the hills and the sea. Where the hills end is in the Fey Forest. And it's the kind of thing you would have asked about it growing up, and your parents, having been there, would have told you about it, although it's occurring to you now that it's kind of odd that they never offered to take you there. So, yeah, it's in the general direction that you're going. Whether you have time to go there before the battle is a little bit questionable.
Well, from what I remember my parents telling me, of course, it's on our way. It's right by where we're going to end up anyways, except I don't know if it'd be too much of a good idea to pit stop there before the battle begins. You
I
know?
think we should wait until morning and then discuss these happenings with the rest of the group, get their intellectual takes on the matter.
We can try, but Gromish, I don't know if he'll really. I mean, he'd be pretty intrigued to, I guess, support the finding out of Jane, but we also have this mission to help protect people and everything. So his gladiator side that I heard a little bit about would probably want to focus on that more. But we can wait. I mean, we can wait for our giant barbarians, warriors. Jane like puffs out her chest, kind of mocking them to wake up.
I think that would be best.
All right, so Renegar and Gromish, while you two were asleep when this conversation started, one, it's starting to get light, so there's light coming in through the windows, and two, these two smallish people with relatively high-pitched voices have been talking in the same room where you were trying to sleep for some time. So you're probably both waking up at this point. How much of this conversation you have caught or understood, that's going to be up to you to interpret for your characters.
Ramesh will probably like sit up and probably like roll his shoulder and be like, bright lights wake me up. Little mama, why you talk for so long?
Well, you know, I like talking to people.
Oh, alright. What's up?
How early in the morning is this? Like, is the dawn just lighting the sky on fire, or?
Yeah, basically, dawn is just at the time they were talking. It was that pre-dawn where the sky sort of turns a light blue, and it's just now getting to be dawn.
How far away were we from the town that we were just attacked in? Just refresh my memory.
Not far. You basically went to the sort of the next, or maybe put one or two abandoned farms between you and the place for some sense of safety, but no more than a mile or two.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I am gonna do this. So I'm still salty.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna get up and make like I'm going outside to for my morning ablutions, I suppose you could say.
Hmm.
But my real intention is to head back to town.
Okay.
Oh no.
Ramesh just goes see Lee and just goes, Fur buddy.
Oh, I'm trying to sneak off. That's my intention.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be hard to do because you're all in the same room, but if you roll high enough.
Well, what I'm attempting to do is go out the door, around a wall, and then just...
Okay.
So this seems more like deception than stealth because you're not trying to hide the fact that you're leaving the room. You're trying to hide why.
Mhm.
So go ahead and make a deception check.
Okay, here we go. I'd say 21.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that beats everybody's passive wisdom. So,
Mm-hmm. 100%.
all right.
So,
Yeah.
the Ramesh sees you
So-
stand up, head to the door, and he's like, Fur buddy, have fun, tinkle. I should tinkle too.
All right. So you've made it out. You are heading back to town. What are you going to do?
Do I pass by any, like, dry, withered trees?
Several.
I'm going to snap off a branch and start gathering a bunch of dried grass. And I'm going to wrap that around the branch as tinder. And see, I don't have those tools on me, so I'm going to have to make do with just some sticks.
It's going to be an exceedingly low DC, but you're from a wild knoll tribe, so you would know how to start a fire. So go ahead and make a nature check.
See, that's a 13.
Yeah, 13's enough. You're able to get this torch lit.
So what I want to do is basically I want to sneak up to the nearest like house made the most out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to set the town on fire.
All right. So are you going to set one house on fire, or is it the kind of thing where you're going to walk up and down the lanes, lighting things as you go, or something in between?
If I can get around a couple edges of the town, like I'm guessing the town's set up in sort of like a squarish setup.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, so the plan is to go around like about 50 as much of the perimeter as I can, like making new torches as I go along.
All right.
If necessary, and just setting shit on fire.
All right. So the town isn't that big, so it's not going to be that involved of a process to do what you're trying to do. Go ahead and give us a stealth check.
Get advantage because I got my thing on, I think. Yep.
Yep.
That is a natural 20.
All right. So yeah, you're able to make a full circuit lighting things off as you go. And yeah. So the perimeter of the town is now on fire, and you can hear people were already sort of frazzled and overwhelmed from the previous night's battle with your party and from having put out the fire at their inn. And now a significant portion of their town is on fire. And the demons who were working their water magic aren't there anymore.
If there's a nearby hill where I can just watch this unfold, like part way between the town and where my friends are, that's
Just
where I'm
lay out a
going.
picnic, you know?
What's that?
Just lay out a picnic, you know?
Oh no, I am just gleefully watching the chaos unfold because they tricked us and they went after my new friends, and just the whole time I'm just watching this just stone faced and just sort of like one hand is sort of just up and down on that shoulder piece for my armor on my left arm.
Arthur would be so sad, but Locke would be so goddamn proud.
Yes, he would.
So you watch as the flames spread. Some of the buildings you lit up, they're all sort of square built cottages with thatched roofs. So some of them the fire didn't really take. Some of them completely go up, and some of them are in between where the villagers are making an effort with bucket brigades and things like that to contain it. The whole town isn't going to go from this, but it clearly did a lot of damage. And it's not clear if there's any loss of life that's going to have resulted from this in the town. As you're watching, what you're going to see, though, is that around the town is quite a bit of dry brush, which quickly spreads to the forest that you and your friends are in, that has been stricken by drought for a couple of years now and is extraordinarily dry. And you're going to be coming to the dawning realization that you are in a forest that is about to be burning down.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't have had the foresight to think about that. And when I see that start to happen, and I make that realization, I kind of book it back to the party, and I try to like nonchalantly hurry us out of the barn. Just come back in. It's been way too long. Obviously, just like
Long tinkle.
Time to go. And
Yeah,
just sort of like.
So for the rest of the party, he's been gone for like 2 hours at this point. So you definitely know something's up. Also, you all can smell the smoke at this point.
Athel, being the resident expert on war crimes, has just got a raised eyebrow at this point. Just going, what did you do?
Grumish, with absolutely no intelligence on this matter, goes, Are you cooking? Did you hunt deer? Is there deer? Little mama, is there deer around?
Maybe. I mean, we are in a forest, though. Renegar, what's the hurry? Is our barn on fire?
Did you make meat?
Try to cook something? You were gone for a long time. I'm kind of concerned.
I'm completely avoiding the question. I just look out the door and I point to the fire that's now rising up the hill towards us.
Grumish, thinking that he's pointing at the meat that he's cooking, immediately rushes out and stares at it and goes, That's a fire, not meat.
Big fire. Need to go now.
That's You're gonna burn your meat. That's too big of a fire. Gotta make a small fire.
No. Not for meat. Need to go.
Okay. He just grabs Jane and Athel and just goes, Run! And just starts booking himself away. Just like, yeah, shoulders.
All right. Well, you all do have a little bit of luck in this, in that the wind is on your side and that it doesn't blow the fire the exact opposite direction from you, but you all are traveling north, and the wind off of the ocean blows the fire inland, which is east. So it is spreading in your direction, but that's not the most aggressive spread. And as you're making your way, I assume you're sprinting along for a while, but when it becomes clear that the fire isn't going to catch you very quickly, you're able to resume a more normal pace.
So, if not for meat, what big fire? Fur buddy, what made big fire?
Little fire.
Little fire. Little fire for cooking meat?
No, not for meat.
What made little fire?
Village make little fire.
Why did village make fire? Were village cooking meat?
Probably.
Oh, well, okay. Okay.
All right, we're going with another deception check for that. If anybody wants to roll insight against this, you can, or you can. It's up to you how your characters would interact with this. If you're suspicious and want to roll insight, you can do that. If this is your friend and you're just going to accept his answer, it'll be against the passive wisdom.
All right, I'm gonna
Ramesh
roll
would
insight on that.
100% believe him.
That's
I don't
a
think any
natural
of you need
20.
to roll. It's a 6.
Yeah, even passively,
entire
Jane does
time
not
I-
believe you.
Yeah, I'm having a very hard time holding it in. I'm giggling the entire time I'm trying to give this like obvious just quarter turn from the truth here.
Gramish believes that they were cooking meat. He doesn't really believe that you saw them cooking meat.
All right, so how are Jane and Ath? We'll start with Jane. How is Jane responding to this situation?
Mm. As okay, above game, as horrible as what he did. On all honesty, how Jane would respond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, obviously you're lying. You need to take some pointers from Gromish. Even Gromish lies better.
I lie?
Yes, buddy.
Oh.
Were
I
you
like
drunk last
meat.
night?
Huh?
That's not a lie. Okay.
Oh.
Anyway. We shouldn't take revenge on people even if we hate them. As long as that forest doesn't hurt anyone else that wasn't part of... Well, if that fire doesn't hurt anyone else that wasn't part of last night, you're okay. But I'm still proud of you. High five. Right here, big buddy. Right here. High five. Thank you so much. But at least let us know. I would have wanted to watch.
Gramish
But
looks at
you
Athel with
should've
a very confused
taking
look.
care of the innocent. I
Yeah,
mean,
Druid
Gromish even had like a big old speech about surrendering and everything. I don't think the whole town asked for a surrender.
No surrender.
Can you ask fire for surrender?
The jury goal of this Athel is just looking at. All right, which character is it who started the fire? I'm terrible.
Renegar.
Okay. It's just Athel was just looking at Renegar with this very conflicted expression of admiration, but also horror at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking for Jane. It's like she's happy because she was really upset with how they treated us, but at the same time, it's like there's still innocent people that weren't a part of it. It's like, it's like that weird parent moment. Like you're proud of your child, but at the same time, it's like you really should do that. But good job.
Gramish looks between y'all and just goes, Did fire fight, or did person start fire to fight? How surrender to fire?
Renegar burnt in anger. He wasn't happy about yesterday, so he caused a fire.
Gramish full on stops. He was walking normally all the way. He full on stops. And he like turns to you and goes, Fur Buddy started fire.
Uh-huh.
Fire
People.
burned town.
Yep.
Bad town.
The
Surrender
town we were
not
in
to
yesterday.
fire, surrender to fur body.
No surrender. No here surrender.
So this is completely something that he would do, just because the way he did. Can I punch him?
Oh yeah, you can roll for an attack.
All right, cool. Yeah, he's gonna punch you with his right hand for his armor bracer. That's gonna be a nope, sorry. That's gonna be a 16 to hit. Does that hit, Tracy?
That does not hit.
That is not hit. All right, so
Oh.
you see him very
Wow.
clearly. The moment that you say no surrender, his entire body turns towards you, and his fist comes towards you.
I catch the fist.
love that.
I shouldn't be here. And Jane's gonna like jump off your shoulder.
Yeah, good play.
Athel's backing away at this point. Athel's got his hands up. He's like, nope, I'm out. I'm not paid enough for this.
Only
Wait,
me,
you're
because
paid?
I do what no able.
Supposedly.
Only mad because I do what no want.
Mad because no surrender. Choice
Right, no
needs to be
surrender.
made.
Surrender. No surrender.
You can clearly feel his fist like almost vibrating in your hand. Is like you can feel he starts to get bigger too. As he's full on raging at this point. His entire body grows. And he looks pissed. Like he legitimately looks, for the first time that you've seen him, legitimately angry at you.
They never do again.
They might not have again. Ever.
Now,
again. Now, they never will smile again.
neither would have we.
He's not very happy. He's not smiling. I love the idea that you're like holding his fist, that you can't even grab this point, like smiling, and he's just like standing over you, not moving or budging. He's debating on trying to swing at you again.
So at this point, a farm cart is going to be rattling up. They're traveling from north to south. And the person driving the cart is going to say, Jane, is that you? And
Jane's gonna flip around so fast, and it's like, yes?
so this is going to be somebody from the village where you grew up. And he's kind of not a bad person, but sort of a neighborhood nobody. Just he was some farmer's kid.
Oh.
And you would kind of expect to run into him on a country road out here. And he's going to look at the 7-foot-tall Flynn Knoll with his claws out, and the now 13-foot-tall orc, apparently about to engage in combat. He's going to say, well, I was going to ask your friends if they could move aside, but maybe we should just take bets. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you're welcome to join. How are you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to run into you out here. By the way, do you guys know what all that smoke is about? Because I was about to head into Green Meadow, and I'm thinking maybe I need to turn back here.
Oh,
Green Meadow was
Meadow
where
exists
was
anymore,
the town
buddy.
that I just set fire to, right?
Yeah.
yeah. Jane, there's gonna be a little waft of cinnamon suddenly, and she's going to be like, yeah, just someone was trying to cook food and it didn't work out.
Yeah,
All
Green
right,
Meadow
so-
doesn't exist anymore. That's Athel's response. Just like, no, that town's gone.
All right. So this person, since they know Jane, they're more focused on what Jane is saying. But since they know Jane, they know what the waft of cinnamon means. And Jane, I'm going to have you make a deception check because you are somewhat obscuring the truth here.
That's an 11.
So this person's just going to kind of give you that toothy country boy smile. He's going to say, "You never could lie worth a damn, but in any case, I'm not going in the direction of the giant plumes of smoke. Would you all like a ride back into town? It looked like you were heading that way anyway."
Buddy, are you done being angry? Or do you want to settle this over a drink competition at Mom's?
He's gonna move his hand back, very clearly restraining himself from attempting to just absolutely lay Rhaegar on the ground. He's still gonna stay 13 feet tall, so he just kind of turns around and he goes, "No drinking tonight," and he just starts walking.
No, drinking! No! Oh, you really angered him. Renegar!
There's like little teacups
It's
in the
drinking
town.
night!
Did right thing.
So at this point, the farm boy whose name is Cobb is going to turn to Jane and say, Do we need to warn the village about the 13-foot tall orc that's walking into our town? Is that a problem?
Oh, it's just Gromish. It's fine. I'm sure some of the people remember Gromish. He's the orc that I would go up against during the drinking competitions, at my mom's place.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he looked different when he was half that height. So yeah, no.
Yeah, he kind of got in a little tussle with our Knoll. It's fine. It's fine. At least I think it should be fine.
Okay.
I'll handle it. It's fine.
At this point, Rob is going to look at Renegar and Athel and say, "You've definitely made interesting friends. Well, if you all want to ride, hop on the wagon." And he's going to start turning the cart around.
Yeah, I hop in.
Athel's gonna hop in as well.
I'd love to catch up with you, but I need to be with my buddy. He's not too happy right now, especially since he declined drinks. That's not good. And Jane is going to run up to Gromish and tap on some part of him she can reach. She's like, hey, please.
Without breaking stride, he's just gonna grab her by the back of her shirt, basically, and just lift her onto his shoulder.
She's just gonna hug his head. It's like, it's okay.
He's not gonna
I still
say
think
much.
you should have a drink. Yeah, it's fine. She's just gonna sit there and just hug his head as they walk.
All right. So as you all approach the village, it's the type of deal where the countryside is abandoned until you get very close to the village, and then there are a few farms still active. And as they see this 13-foot tall orc walking by, people just run inside and bar their doors. There's not a lot of interaction happening. When you get to the town itself, Jane, you're welcome to tell me if I'm not describing any part of this right, but from what conversation we'd had about it, the way you had described it to me was the buildings. The town isn't necessarily fortified per se, but the individual buildings, since they're built to withstand whatever storms come in off the ocean, the individual buildings are quite sturdy, like timber and stone built. And prominently near the bay is the inn called the Rusty Tankard. And at the sight of this 13-foot tall orc, somebody is going to raise the alarm, and people are going to start stepping out of their houses with spears and bows and stuff. Although there's clearly a few of them are clearly having the thought, like, how much do I actually like this village?
Gromish is just gonna speak up at this
Fair.
point, and he's just gonna using thaumaturgy, he's just gonna call out name Gromish, friend of Jane, was in with Pop and Pop, what he calls Jane's parents, at the Rusty Tavern. No fighting needed. And then he's just He's going to slowly simmer down. He's just going to slowly go back to his 6 foot. He looks more tired than angry at the moment as he just keeps walking towards the tavern.
All right. So you start making your way to the tavern. People, as you start to diminish in size, the people do settle down, and they do. A lot of them do remember you, so they understand what's going on, and even the ones who don't, the immediate threat is past, and everybody remembers Jane.
Mm-hmm.
Jane having been basically the only gnome in this town when she lived here.
Mm.
And Athel and Renegar, Rob is going to, since your group seems to be going to the Rusty Tankard, he's just going to pull up in front of it and say, well, it was nice meeting you all. If you ever do decide to go rounds with that orc, though, I want a front row seat for that.
Duly noted.
Actually, you know what? I don't want a front row seat for that. I want a seat 2 or 3 rows back. Front row seems kind of dangerous. I want to see it, is what I'm telling you.
Yeah. Last time Gromish got this angry, things were thrown, so.
Yeah. Well, it was great seeing you, Jane.
Yep, great seeing you too, Rob. Have fun. See you around.
And as you're saying your goodbyes, you get the distinct impression that Rob, like, he was never inappropriate, but he might have wanted to flirt with you. But given the company you're in, that's like Jane by herself is you watch your manners, but in the company she's in at this moment, it's just like, no.
It's like, no, I don't want to be beat up.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, Gramish, are you making your way? Gramish and Jane, you're kind of leading the way here. Are you all making your way into the inn at this point?
Gromish would be walking into the inn, yeah, pretty much paying no attention to Rhaegar or even Athel's position at the moment.
All right, so we'll get back to you in a second. Renegar and Athel, are you going to walk into the inn right away, or are you going to let Jane and Gramish go in and hang out somewhere else and maybe give him some time to simmer down?
I'm actually going to look to Athel for like the next step on this one. Like,
Athel,
We
go in. Get
Athel, as
drink.
Renegar asks if you're going in, you do smell the smell of cooking bread coming from inside the inn.
Okay, yeah. Apple's already in the inn by this point.
Okay.
Just this dust trail behind.
Just looking around, just like, oh, okay.
I follow him in slowly.
All right. So as soon as you're inside, the dimensions of the doorway are such that Gramish is going to have to put Jane down in order to, like, for both Gramish and Renegar, it's a little bit hard to squeeze into this place because it's more of a human-sized door.
Mm-hmm.
So Gramish will have to put Jane down, and almost as soon as that happens, Jane is wrapped up in a hug from her mom, who wasn't expecting her and immediately recognizes her. So you're having this little reunion right at the doorway, and there are a couple of people sitting around the place having a meal. There's a fire going in the fireplace. And Jane, this is kind of your forte. What happens next?
Jane is just still wrapped up in the hug. It's like, oh, hi. I have so much to tell you about my adventure. I have 2 new friends. 2. And Gromish is with me too. But it's so great being here. Everything's still the same, which is really nice. I'm glad it really doesn't change. Let me introduce everyone. So she's gonna try to like flip around, and her mom doesn't let her go. And she's trying to flip around her tiny little gnome body. It's like, okay, everyone, welcome to the Rusty Tankard. You're all welcome here. All races are welcome, of course. And there is no discriminating, no bullying. And every other day is drinking competition night. There is a bracket board over there, and Mom and Dad are still unbeatable, so there's that. You can try to beat them, but it doesn't work.
So your mom is going to whisper in your ear at that point, actually, the cleric told your dad to stop doing that every other night. Yeah. He's fine. He just
Okay.
he just needs to stop out drinking the whole town
Oh.
every other day. I still do it. I'm
Okay.
fine, but
Okay, so actually, probably once every 2 days or once a week. But either way, and the third competitor is here, Gromish. You can try to outdrink him if you want, but I recommend you don't, because last time that happened, we had to have a cleric on site. So let's not do that, everyone. But you're all welcome here. There's fresh bread my dad is currently making, it smells like. There will be tons of meaty, hearty foods. And yeah, just don't break too many tables, or you'll have to make them. But yeah, welcome to my home.
I give Mom the big toothy wave with the claw in the air. Just hi.
she is exceptionally okay with it. Like most people, it requires some effort for you to make it clear that this isn't a threat, but she's just, dealt with enough other folk that not bothered by it.
Grommish nods to her and goes, "Hi, Pap," and then just sits down at a table.
Athel, are you joining Gromish, or are you going to find your own place to sit?
Ethel is currently in the quest for bread.
Okay, so what do you do about that?
If there's like a counter or something along those lines, Ethel's just going to immediately sort of move over to it and sort of probably struggle to see above it, but just go like, bread? Anyone? Bread? Holding up a gold coin as he said this.
All right, so ahead of a human with graying hair, who Jane is going to immediately recognize it's your dad, is going to just kind of poke out and say, "Yep, just it's almost done. Just give us a few minutes."
Jane is going to hear his voice and like immediately start to like wiggle around in her mom's arms. It's like, oh my gosh, it's Dad. Let me go see Dad too. I love you both. I promise. I need to see Dad.
All right, so she walks into the kitchen with you, and you see your father. And how long have you been away from home, roughly?
Probably 3 months. I want to say 3 to 6.
All right.
I don't know how long it would have been us taking to see Renegar and then going to the ship thing and how long that's been. So
All right, so we'll say it's been 6 months. So your dad is pretty much as you remember him, maybe just a little bit thinner since the cleric told him to lay off the ale, but otherwise as you remember him. And predictably, he is thrilled to see you, and he sort of scoops you up, and he's kind of holding you in one arm and talking about what's been going on in the village while he's continuing to cook and man the kitchen with the other hand. And it's pretty much just like old times at this point.
So I heard your life became boring due to a doctor visit, Dad.
I'm not getting any younger, and I can't keep out drinking people twice my size forever.
Well, it's fine. It's a good thing you have a kid. I can take over. It's all right.
So he's going to kind of pat the top of your head and say, "I'm sure you can, and if not, there's always Gromish. How's the big guy doing?"
Well, he's had better days. He got in a little fight with one of our teammates today, but hopefully it'll go away, hopefully. Though he's so angry he doesn't want to drink.
Right. Well, can you take over in the kitchen for just a moment? Maybe I can go talk to him.
Of course. I can do this. I just need my stool. Is my stool still here?
Yep. He pulls it out from behind one of the ovens, and he has to dust it off a little bit.
Yes.
And right. So Gromish, this human who you know, is going to walk out, and he's going to be polishing a teacup. And he said, "I heard you're not looking for an ale," so he's going to pour you a cup of tea and pass it across the bar, or set it on your table rather. And he's going to take a seat next to you, or I'm sorry, not next to you, across from you at the table. And he's going to say, Absolutely. We're busy today, but Jane said you're upset about something. What's on your mind, friend?
Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of like slowly drinks the tea in front of him. He's just like, what do when friend hurts others and others have no choice in matter?
That depends on a lot of things. It's very easy for us to get angry at our friends, to judge our friends for the things they do. But and he's going to somewhat conspicuously, I don't think Ramesh is going to pick up the significance of this, but he's going to look back in the direction of Jane, or back in the kitchen where Jane is, and where Athel is still trying to peer over the counter without much success. And he's going to say, we do things in life with particular intentions of how they'll turn out. And sometimes you don't get what you expected. Sometimes what you get is not remotely what you asked for. But what I find is that the trick of it is to just roll with whatever happens and try to make the best of it. Now, it sounds like one of your friends did a bad thing, and I'm sorry to hear that. And you have to decide if you still want to be their friend and what needs to happen for them to make up for the bad thing they did.
He's good person. He just doesn't he kind of like thinks for a moment, trying to think of the words, and he's like, doesn't know to be good like I don't. He needs a friend like Jane, help him see a better life like I saw. I don't know if I can be good.
So he's on the same journey you were on when you and Jane met.
Yes, he
Oh.
wants to do good.
All
I
right.
think.
Well, look, Gramish, you're going to have to figure this out for yourself because that's all any of us can do. But I would say give your friend the grace and the space to learn and grow, and try to keep him out of trouble. Keep a good eye on him because, well, I know the company you keep, my friend, and your friends can't be the kind who get let loose on the world. Listen, he's gonna like reach across and kind of in a very tender and gentle way pat you on the hand. He's gonna say, "Listen, it's really good seeing you. Maybe we can have dinner together later. I do need to get back to the kitchen. Are you gonna be okay?"
I will be fine, Pop. Go have fun with Jane. She misses you a lot.
All right. So he's going to get up, and when he gets up, he won't really be able to miss Renegar. And what's Renegar going to have been doing all this time?
I've been kind of just like awkwardly trying to figure out if I should go over to the bar where Athol is, or if I should go over to the table where Gromish is. And just kind of like a little bit lost because like this isn't no, I haven't been left to my own devices in a very long time.
All right. So Jane's dad doesn't really know, hasn't been explained to him what the context of you being here is. So he's just going to sort of smile brightly, say, "Welcome, traveler. Please have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. Would you like for me to get you an ale? Are you hungry? Any particular kind of food you like?"
Ale. Yeah, ale. And meat.
All right, ale and meat coming right up. And he's going to sort of disappear back into the kitchen.
Whatever direction he had gestured for me to take a seat, that's like the beeline for finding a seat, even if it's just some random table full of a bunch of random people.
All right, so he had vaguely gestured to an empty table next to where Gramish is sitting, because he didn't have any way of knowing you two had come in together or what the situation between the two of you is. So you two are sitting near each other, but not together. Now, Gromish, in light of the conversation you just had with Jane's dad and seeing Renegar sit down near but not with you, what are you going to be doing in this moment?
Gromish is probably going to, like, kind of look at the tea and swirl around the cup and such, and he's probably just going to take a little sip and then go, Fur buddy, you should sit. Good table here.
Yeah, I look around and I notice how awkward it is, and I'm like, I just nod and I go over and join him. And I start sniffing at this like tiny little thing in front of him, the tea that's in front of him, like.
Good tea. You want tea?
What
It tastes
tea?
good. Leaf water. Yeah.
I just down the whole thing in one shot.
Good leaf water.
Leaf water.
Ale time.
Aha.
Ethel, at this point, Jane's mom is sort of attempting increasingly insistently and borderline forcibly trying to get you to take a seat and just wait at a table for the bread to come out. How are you going to respond to that?
Oh yeah, at even the slightest request, Ethel will take a seat.
All right. So after a while, plates are brought out. They bring ale for all of you. They bring plates with meat, plates with bread, plates with the meat is mostly fish. And Jane's parents are actually going to sit down with you because everybody in the tavern has been more or less taken care of for the moment, so they have some time to sit and talk.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything anyone at the table is going to want to talk to them about? All right, I'm going to take that as a no. So they're going to start asking you for news. They've been hearing rumors about raiders, and the army just went by not that long ago, which was pretty alarming for them to have so many armed men passing. They've heard about stuff happening on the seas. So does anybody want to share anything in particular with them?
Gromish will probably say, what?
Yeah, Ethel's just gonna be like, oh yeah, we fought off some of the pirates on the seas and fought not army but like demons. Yes.
We fought pirates. It was good times. One was sad, and then he tried burning me, so I threw him into a ocean. Fish ate him. Yeah, I think they ate him. I don't know.
Demons? Somebody said something about demons. This is Jane's mom talking.
Yeah, there was this like town that tried to beat us to demons. Not a thing anymore. Fixed that.
Yeah. After we were security on a boat and we fought off some pirates, we became kind of guards for a caravan. And they stopped at this little town. And after we left that little town that was destroyed by some gangs, ransacked by an army, we stopped at another town that was wonderfully thriving. They were untouched even. And turns out they were welcoming and everything because they needed sacrifices for a demon that was protecting them.
That's
to say
horrible.
the least, I wasn't too happy. Yeah, it was horrible.
So at this point, your dad is going to look at your mom and is going to say, well, we should make sure we let everybody know. Maybe we can have somebody ride out to Green Meadow and let them know that this is going on. It's really alarming.
Ethel at that point is just going to be like, well, Green Meadow was the town.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Rob was on his way there just a little while ago.
Yeah, we stopped Rob on the, yeah.
All right, so
I told him about evergreen, and he just flipped around and brought us here, actually.
And so your dad's going to say, so Rob's okay?
Yes, Rob is okay. He seemed a little odd at first than
When you,
usual, but he seems pretty okay.
when you say Rob's okay under his breath, your dad's just going to go, damn it. And you're going to remember that your dad never liked him much.
Oh, well, okay. He's still alive, but he seemed pretty intimidated by my buddies, so he's not going to be around Dad during this visit.
All right. Well, that's bad news. That's actually where we were getting a lot of our grain from. And we can still fish in the bay, but the ships that go out into deep water haven't been coming back. But we're okay for right now. And you guys got here safely. So we're all here. That's what's really important.
Well, hopefully things get figured out. Currently, we're trying to figure out why there's been stirring of a war anyways, so but we wanted to stop here for a little while, just on our way through.
Are boats in danger?
Yeah, we got visited by gods. So that was interesting.
Grommish looks a
So
bit
Jane's
confused
parents
at you two.
both of Jane's parents are going to look at Athel, start to talk about being visited by gods, and then they're going to both turn to Grommish, and Jane's mom is going to say, yeah, boats are in danger if they go into deep water. Apparently there's pirates. Well, you had a run-in with pirates yourself, and our fishing vessels aren't really meant to fight.
Oh. He still like do a side glance at Athel, being like, "That's kind of odd." He still look back at the parents and go, enough resources, food for you."
Things are going to be hard if Green Meadow's not able to give us grain anymore, but we'll find some way to make do. We always do.
Jane's just going to smile faintly. It's like, well, we've always made it through. I'm sure you guys will be okay.
We will.
But yeah, last night I had the weirdest dream where I saw you guys much much younger than you are now. No offense, Dad.
None taken. What did you dream about, Jane?
It was like this very magical forest full of different races and different creatures and everything. And there was the two of you there giving like a bag of little magical items or stuff for a spell to this elf. And then my dream switched over to this elf running out of a tree because there was a commotion happening outside. And then he ran into a burning tree house of sorts and grabbed out a little red-headed gnome that I'm assuming was me, because later on in the dream he drops off that same gnome baby at the doorsteps of this tavern.
So at this point, your parents are both going to kind of lean away from the table and look at each other, and they're both in the situation where they don't quite know what to say at this point. Are you going to say anything or do anything when you see them react this way?
It's like, well, she's just gonna shake her hands and smile. It's like, well, it's all right. I have already heard that the forest was attacked forever ago, and I have my new family. This is my family. I mean, what happened as a baby, that's not my family, really. It's not where I was raised. This is where I was raised with you guys, of course. It's okay. It's just a weird dream, you know?
So at that, both of your parents, especially your mom, they're going to relax a little bit. And your mom is going to say, so we didn't want to lie to you. What we told you was true. We went to the forest. We made an offering because we wanted a baby. And we got a baby. we just left out the details. And she's going to put her hand on your dad's hand, and she's going to say, your father and I wanted to have a child of our own, and we were told that the Fae folk could work charms that would make that happen because we weren't able to conceive. So when you turned up on our doorstep, it wasn't exactly the fulfillment that we had been asking for, but we love you. You're our daughter. We're very glad you're here.
Yeah, a bit of a turn of events, but I'm happy you guys are my parents.
And your dad is at that point going to chime in and say, I always did want to take you back and show you. It was obvious that was where you were from. I did always want to take you back and show it to you. We'd heard about the attack, and I was afraid it might not be safe. And he's going to have a really mournful look on his face, and he's going to say, and if I'm completely honest, I was afraid your parents might still be there and they might want you back, and I didn't want to give up my little girl.
Well, okay. My heart. Jane is going to go over and hug her parents. It's like, no matter what, you guys are still my parents. Even if I met my actual birth parents, it'll make no difference to me. You guys are the ones that raised me, of course.
So let's go in the order of, I'll say Renegar, Gromish, and then Athel. How are you all reacting to this scene? Because this isn't necessarily anything any of the three of you have much context for.
Yeah, I'm kind of like staring back and forth between all of this because like this is new territory, seeing family interactions, but like when like the conversation quiets down enough and I don't feel like I'm sort of getting in the middle of it, I'll look over at Jane and just sort of like do that like confused head cock and ask her, we go forest now?
Well, the forest is in the direction we're going anyways for our mission. However, that's also the same area that the possible war might happen between the armies you've been kind of hearing about.
All right. And how's Gromish? Gromish knows this family, so how's Gromish taking all of this?
Gromish, is not really getting some of the intricacies of the dream that Jane had. He doesn't really understand like half of it probably. But he's looking at like them hugging and such, and he's probably just like, he kind of like leans over to Rangar and is like, family. Jane sees us, family. Them family. Yeah.
Yeah, the seriousness of that isn't lost on me either.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think that's when I put a hand on his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Family.
He's gonna look at the parents and go, do you think we go to forest? Good plan?
So Jane's parents are both going to think about this for a minute, and it's again going to be, by the way, I know Jane's mom is a half-elf and the dad is a human, so I'm just picturing the mom as being a little bit older, a little bit more confident, and therefore the one who talks first. That's my logic here.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm wrong there, Jane, you're welcome to correct me.
Oh, no, you got it.
Okay. So mom is going to say, well, from what I'm getting from what you're saying, you're somehow wrapped up in the confrontation that's going to happen between the supremacy and the empire. if you can get through that safely, then visiting an abandoned and possibly haunted forest, probably not the safest thing in the world to do, but it doesn't sound like it's much more dangerous than anything else you all have been up to.
Hmm.
And if you're looking for more answers about Jane's parents or anything really, I don't know, that druid might still be hanging around there. It wouldn't hurt anything to go there. And that's actually going to bring us to Athel, because you know for a fact that that druid is not hanging around there. You know for a fact that that druid is living where you came from.
Oh yeah, no, that druid is like way down south from here. I think I haven't gotten the geography down, but no, that's the guy who raised me, and he's really far away.
Yeah, it's really weird, Mom. It showed the
I'm
druid
also from
holding
that forest.
baby me and I guess our goblin friend over here.
Being addressed as goblin friend, Athel will continue to chow down on whatever bread has been provided.
It's a really weird dream. Like, once we woke up, I brought up how it would have been funny if we were both dropped off here. But instead they went with the druid and I was left here. Which
So-
I'm very thankful for.
So your dad is going to kind of nod along, and he's going to say, I know what happened. Please don't take offense. What was your name again, Master Goblin?
I'm Athel.
Okay. So please don't take offense to this, Master Athel, but in human settlements, people who don't look human aren't always welcome, and goblins have something of a bad reputation. I'm guessing that the druid figured that Jane would have a warmer welcome than you would, and so the druid took it upon himself to raise you. For what it's worth, had you both been dropped off here, we would have raised both of you as our own.
Aww. That's so sweet.
Silent crying.
Yeah, Athel just doesn't know how to respond to that because, like, even with the druid, it was more like a mentor figure than a proper parent in Athel's mind. So they're just kind of sort of staring in awe or perhaps blankly. It's very hard to tell.
All right. So it's going to be at this moment that the door to the tavern is going to open and someone is going to step in. I think, Jane, you're going to recognize that the particular clothing and gear this person is wearing is that of a fisherman. And it's the kind of thing where usually when you're getting off of a fishing boat, you would take some of your gear off, and they didn't. They came hastily. And he's just going to announce sort of at large, because the tavern is the nearest gathering place to the bay. He's going to say, there's a ship coming in.
Grommer's still want to speak up as he says and just goes, bad guy ship?
I'm not quite sure. The colors they're flying are of the Empire.
Oh. He's don't look at Jane. Good guy, bad guy?
History check if I can remember what flag the other ship was flying in the
Okay,
beginning.
so you don't really need to do a check for this. You know that the major power to the south where you started your adventure is the Empire of Infernus. So
Okay.
it's not the pirates, it's not the mercenaries who've been wrecking things. That doesn't 100% guarantee that they're friendly, but that's what information you would have.
Okay. Um,
Go meet?
are they stopping here?
Yeah, they seem to. They look like they're trying to make port.
Okay.
And Jane,
Hey,
you're
dog.
going. I'm sorry, Jane. You're going to know that it wouldn't have been that long ago that ships stopping here to make port for the night, or maybe they were damaged in a storm or something, would have been a completely routine occurrence. So things have definitely changed now that a ship that's not from here making port here is a big deal. Renegar, what were you starting to say when I started talking?
I kind of just start looking around to the group. We go.
I was gonna nod, be like, yeah, we should keep an eye out for this
Just,
town.
we can welcome them in. Just to, casually see, what they're doing here. There's been too much going on. I'd hate for my town to also be destroyed.
I'm just gonna stand at that and just go, welcome.
Wow.
Yes, we're going to go welcome the ship. And hopefully they're not bad guys on a...
You just don't look at Jane's parents and go, good guy, welcome. Bad guy, no more. Good, yes. Good plan. Good for town.
Both of them are going to nod to you and say that's an excellent plan. And Jane's dad is going to say, you know what, I'm going to go grab my spear and I'll help you out. And her mom is just going to say, just let the young ones handle it. They'll take care of this.
It's all right, Dad. We got this. We killed a
Don't-
bunch of pirates.
Don't worry,
Well,
Pop. I grow big when angry. I am two of me. Yeah.
Alpha is just going to immediately cast invisibility on himself. Just be like, I'm gonna lie in ambush if these people are a threat. Not really considering that they're just going to randomly disappear in front of all of their friends.
So Jane's dad is going to look at where the goblin was and go, the last time something like that happened in here, it was those halflings and one of them just disappeared. Anyway, it's not important. All right, you guys be safe, and we'll be here if you need to take shelter. This place is pretty sturdy.
Duly noted, Dad. We'll be okay. Just you and Mom watch over this place, okay?
Got it. And when you get outside, you're going to see that the townsfolk are mustering their militia. They're not super well armed, but they do have some basic armor and weaponry. And they're not exactly in a panic, but they're just getting ready for whatever might be coming. As the ship gets closer, I think Jane will be, having grown up in a fishing village, will be the one with the most nautical experience. You're going to recognize a few things. One of them is this isn't a large ship. It's sort of mid-sized. It's definitely a warship, and it's got a lot of damage on it. Some of the riggings have been cut. It's got a pretty severe list to one side. The ship has definitely seen better days, and they don't pilot themselves into port all that ably. They just effectively run aground. And as soon as the ship has done that, people start getting off. Quite a few of them are wounded, and the townsfolk sort of visibly relax because this doesn't look like it's. If they were there for warfare, they weren't there to attack this town. What do you all want to do in this situation? The townsfolk are still kind of hanging back, unsure how to react.
Grommish will probably walk forwards with Jane on his shoulder, and he'll use Thaumaturgy again to shout out, who is boss of ship?
All right. So a tiefling is going to make his way forward and jump fairly nimbly down from the bow of the ship and wave to you. Renegar, you're going to recognize this tiefling. This tiefling is one of the crew who were responsible for capturing you and sold you into fighting in the pits.
Just how many people are surrounding him on his side, and how How banged up do they all look?
They look fairly banged up. There's about 20 people on his side. And they look like they got the worst of the battle, and their boat did too, but they are still pretty well armed.
I have better sense than to charge into that.
While you're
But
contemplating
the minute I
that,
do see him, the minute I see him, just my hackles raise up. The just all the hair on my shoulders goes straight up into the air, and it's just angry growling in his direction.
all right. So he's almost immediately going to make eye contact with you, and he's just got this look on his face of just like, oh, sugar, honey, and iced tea. Just
Grommash, seeing Rengar's hackles raise up, he's going to firmly place a hand on his shoulder and kind of say kind of up to him and go, "If you attack, I will slash you with my gray axe." Down. That tone of voice is one that you're probably not happy with, right? He is very much so making it clear he's gonna hurt you if you attack.
Yeah, I'm not focused on Grommish really.
Mhm.
Like I wince a little bit. I wince a little bit at the implied command, but
Mhm.
my eyes are fixed.
Yeah. Gromish's
On
hand
this
is not gonna move from your shoulder.
all right. So Jane, you're on Gromish's shoulder while this is happening. Are you doing anything in this moment?
Jane is just going to, in a whisper tone, is like, okay. We'll play nice, and if anything happens, we'll handle it, okay?
If he's evil,
okay,
I let go.
yeah. If he's evil, I can charm him.
Hmm.
Okay? We can keep an eye on him because he's in my town. This is a whole different situation now.
Hmm.
So, take it in stride. Because if we try to start a fight here, we're putting everyone in my town at risk, and we don't want that.
Grommish is going to call out to the guy and go, friend or foe?
Definitely friend. We were attacked on the open water. We didn't want to stop here. Our plan wasn't to stop here. We were headed toward Elfhaven, toward the north. And he's going to look at Renegar and say, I'm not here for you today. What is Athel, the currently invisible goblin, doing while all this is happening?
Athel's positioning themselves in such a way where, like, if these people try to rush forward or do anything funny regarding attacking people, Athel will be able to quickly intervene and sort of perhaps even get, like, opportunity attack as they pass. But they're not doing anything expressly hostile.
All right. Actually, go ahead and make a stealth check with advantage.
Okay. Goblin powers don't fail me now. That is a 17.
All right. So Jane, you having the highest passive perception of the party, you're going to notice a couple of little footprints appear in the sand with no person accompanying to make them. But from where the ship that's just landed is, there's no way anybody that over there saw it.
Mm-hmm.
Jane is going to jump down and land in those same spots, covering them.
Okay. All right. The tiefling is going to very slowly unbuckle his sword belt and set it on the ground. And he's going to put his hands out and he's going to cautiously advance toward you. And to Renegar, he's going to say, I have every confidence that you would like to rip me apart in this moment. But rather than worrying about me, don't you think we should all be worried about them? And with his hands still up, he's going to point out to the horizon. And you're going to see more than one mercenary ship approaching.
Does
Jane
anyone
is
have an
going. Sorry, what?
Oh, sorry. No, Athel at this point is going to reappear. Just be like, does anyone have an upper district we can sacrifice? Anyone?
So this guy was already pretty nervous because he was approaching this massive knoll that he wants to hurt him, and you just appear next to him, just start jabbering. So he's just, oh my God, completely losing his cool in that moment.
Jane is going to look at this tiefling. It's like, why would you lead them here? Why did you let them follow you?
Look at my ship. She was halfway sinking. This was the only place we could get to. We were trying to lose. Our goal wasn't to lead them anywhere. Our goal was to escape, but here we are.
Ramesh is gonna look at Jane and go, good guys, welcome. Welcome, good guys. He points to the horizon with the hand not on Rangar's shoulder. Bad guys, kill. He's gonna look over Rangar and go, you can attack bad guys. Don't
Jane
hurt
is going
friends.
to just rub her eyes a bit. And it's like, okay. You made our fur buddy here absolutely miserable for who knows how long. And ran this battleground and everything. And yet you couldn't handle a ship. And you led them to my town. You're lucky I'm not Hunter's marking you right now. Okay, I guess go to the tavern. Your crew's welcome there for now. Okay. And I'll make sure you don't get your neck slashed. Just
right.
Your actions will not be forgotten easily. Okay? You're lucky Gromish is here for you.
Your hospitality and generosity are very much appreciated, and whatever you all think of me, now he's addressing Renegar. Whatever problems you and I may have, my crew didn't do anything to you. And it's at this point that he's going to walk back to retrieve his sword where he dropped it on the beach. Renegar, are you going to let that happen, or are you going to respond in any way?
No, yeah. When he goes to reach down for the sword, that's when I'm going to call out. That's when I'm going to call out to him. No sword.
So he's going to sort of pause and he's going to think about it, and then he'll just kind of nod and hands are up again. And
in water.
In water?
You shouldn't need a weapon in my mother's and father's tavern anyway. You'll be safe.
All right. So
we're handling it.
Still with his hands up, he's going to gesture for his crew to follow him. And as they do, you're going to see that even though they're armed, these people are in a pretty wretched state. Quite a few of them are injured. And even the ones who aren't, they have that look of people who are just beyond exhaustion. So this leaves us with the question, there's now the sword lying in the sand in its scabbard and sword belt. Is anybody going to interact with that in any way?
I think Ramesh, once the folks have moved kind of out of the zone, he's gonna kind of let go of Rangar's shoulder and go, I am sorry. Don't want more death. And he's just gonna kind of walk over to the sword, pick it up, kind of put on his in his bag for the moment.
Okay. All right. So as you see them starting to close distance, it's two of the mercenary vessels. They're both larger than the ones you had encountered when you were guarding the ship the Fool's Errand on your very first outing as a party. And something that I think Jane and Athel will both notice in particular is that the sails are completely full of air. They're going at full force with the sails. And the wind isn't blowing in that direction, which can only mean that they have magic that they're using to speed their ship into port. And as they get closer, you're all able to see these ships are crewed. It's about half and half with scaled folk, but the other half are every kind of people on these ships. And a lot of them you recognize as people who would be from the Shattered Archipelago. And a lot of them are like right on the bow of their ships, even though they're still some distance out. Like these people cannot wait to jump off and get into it. And I believe that will be a good place to leave our story for tonight.
Yeah.
Come on, 5 more hours.
5 more hours. Before we end it, real quick, I want to know if I can have I'm assuming that it's kind of like almost like kind of rocky beaches almost, since it's a bay line. I want him to go onto like probably a particularly large rock as they're charging forwards, because he wants to really make a showing, as he's don't go into his full 13-foot tall rage form, somewhat before Rangard's perspective, and he's going to stand up and he's going to use thermology to increase his already obscenely loud voice, and at full capacity he's going to shout and ask for their surrender. He's going to make it particularly clear that he's asking for their surrender or their death.
All right. And the response that is going to come back is, there is no surrender anymore. There is only death, but it won't be ours. In a similarly magically enhanced voice.
Cool.
And that's where we'll leave it for tonight.
Yep. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys did and you guys want to see some insanity of us fighting 2 full ships of pure violence, feel free to come by next week at 4:30 p.m. PST, as we get down to the brass tacks of pain, violence, suffering, and death. And feel free to come by on Friday if you guys want to watch us do another 5e campaign that I'm DMing. We aren't going to be doing Borderlands tomorrow because I have an in-person D&D campaign that's not streamed, sadly, that I'll be doing with Ellie. So feel free to tune on Friday, or go to our various social medias inside of the chat and see what we're doing the rest of the week. And we'll see all of you fine folks next time. Bye.
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 Bye.